Jananing Sharadang Deving Ramakrishnam Jagatgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Murmuhu. Namaskar. This evening we have assembled here to hear Mr. Josiah J. Goodwin Memorial Lecture to be given by Swami Chandrasekharananda Ji, Minister in Charge, Vedanta Society, Portland, U.S.A. We call him endearingly Kamalas Maharaj. He was in Lucknow with Swami Siddharananda Ji and spent most of the time with him in Australia. Year ago he was sent to Portland, U.S.A., from Australia to U.S.A. In fact, he expressed a very keen desire to institute one memorial lecture on J.J. Goodwin. So we have forgotten him practically, but what he did, this Mr. Goodwin, has not been made known to us. It is our carelessness. So when he just expressed the desire, okay, it has to be done. And if you do not do it, if you do not come forward, we shall do it on our own. And he took a pledge that he would do something, and he did. And I requested him to be the first speaker, and he agreed. So this is the first speaker on Mr. J.J. Goodwin Memorial Lecture. As usual, I am going to read out his brief life history. The history has witnessed numerous episodes where wayward souls have found solace and liberation after coming in contact with divinity. Similar event took place in December 1895, when the office bearers of the New York Vedanta Society, in order to immortalize the invaluable lectures of Swami Vivekananda, decided to engage a stenographer for the purpose. One 25-year-old handsome Englishman sporting a handlebar moustache named Josiah John Goodwin entered Swamiji's orbit. Previously, two of such stenographers were engaged, but they were found very much inefficient and not dependable as such. Goodwin was in fact the third person on the job, yes, after the failure of two others who tried to keep up with Swamiji's rapid speech and train of thought. Although all of 25 years, Goodwin was an established journalist for 11 years, who learned the profession from his father, Josiah Goodwin, a Wesleyan minister from Yorkshire, England. Josiah was educated and skilled in the new Pitman system of shorthand and was successful as editor of 3 newspapers. He settled with his wife at Batheston on the northwest coast of England, where on 20th September 1870, Josiah John was born. He also had a younger sister named Margareta. Although having a father who was widely respected in the community, who held important positions in various literary societies and associations, J.J. was on the high road to become a Vestal before he met Swamiji. He moved through life without purpose or direction, and frequently gave in to less innocent avenues of life to find happiness, ultimately finding none. So when he applied for the job, he was looking for more than just wages. He was gifted with fine virtues, which he inherited, which were lurking beneath the surface, waiting for a catalyst. Swamiji ushered in a moral revolution in Godwin within an astonishingly little time, and very soon Godwin became an integral part of the Vedanta movement. His enthusiasm was infectious and tireless. In a span of a day, he would take down the lectures, type them, and hand over the manuscripts to the newspapers and be prepared for the next day's work. In between, he would attend to every personal need of Swamiji out of sheer love. In Swamiji's own words, Godwin does a tremendous amount for me. Without him, I would be in difficulty. Godwin soon became a fantastic tool in the furtherance of Vedantic ideals in England and America. He was entrusted with a major role in publication of journals and pamphlets from the society. He became a vegetarian and took oath of brahmacharya from Swamiji himself. He had excellent executive abilities and organizational skills which impressed Swamiji no end. He became an ardent disciple who recognized a divinely ordained mission in the providential confluence of his life with that of the Swami. Perhaps, therefore, he was the perfect choice of company when Swami Saradananda sailed for America in June 1896. It was during this period in America that the New York Vedanta Society, till then riddled with cross purposes and dissensions, was proposed to be dissolved, and in its place a cooperative work without an organization was proposed by Godwin and Mrs. Olibull. In fact, it was the Greenacre Circular, as the circular was called, which invited correspondence with none other than Godwin and made him the de facto controller of the New York Center till he returned to England in October that year. Godwin's energy was boundless. In his spare time, which was too little to start with, he studied Sanskrit, began work on a beginner's handbook on Vedanta philosophy, started a daily thoughts book out of the Greenacre notes, and tried to start a Vedanta magazine in America. Godwin was a man of principles too, and never took anything for granted. He argued on philosophical ideas with Swamiji on a regular basis, and he expressed unbiased opinion on anyone or anything not in sync with the Vedanta ideals. He travelled to India with Swamiji in December 1896 on what would be his final voyage. He travelled via Colombo, Pamban, Rameswaram, Ramnath and Madras on way to Kolkata, where he stayed at Alambajar Mott. On Swamiji's insistence, he even delivered a lecture to 60,000 people at Dakshineshwar, which was well received. His only lament was the unacceptance of the Mlecho English smell in the holy places of Hindu worship. But he rose above all pettiness and was always a joyful companion to all. Swami Brahmananda once recalled how Godwin once cleaned the muddy feet of Swamiji back from a ghat with his own soul. Godwin, who had accompanied Swamiji to then Uti in May 1898, fell sick and died on June 2. Vivekananda was in Almora then and was buried in the cemetery attached to St. Thomas Church in the town. His death was a shock to Swamiji, and he lamented as if it would not be one's right and duty to fight such a god and slay him for killing Godwin. And Godwin, if he had lived, could have done so much. So Nivedita wrote a poem to Godwin's mother, the famous poem, request get in pace. Speed forth, O soul, upon thy star-strewn path, speed, blissful one, where thought is ever free, where time and sense no longer missed the view, eternal peace and blessings beyond thee. Thy service true, complete thy sacrifice. Thy home, the heart of love, transcended find. Remembrance sweet, that tells all space and time, like altar roses, fill thy place behind. Thy bonds are broke, the quest in bliss is found. Thy quest in bliss is found, and one with that which comes as death and life, thou helpful one, unselfish, ever on earth, ahead, still aid with love this world of strife. It is inscribed on one side of the memorial erected by devoted Indian admirers of Godwin and dedicated by the Bishop of Calcutta on April 23, 1967. Today, J.J. Godwin Memorial Lecture will be delivered by Swami Chandrasekharananda, Minister in Charge, Vedanta Society, Portland, U.S.A. He will speak in English on the spread of Vedanta in the West Coast, U.S.A. by Swami Vivekananda. So it is not in general the discussion on Swamiji's spread of Vedanta in U.S.A. Maharaj has pinpointed his discussion, has made the area very, 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 say, pointed in the West Coast, U.S.A. And I think we'll all enjoy it because it is full of anecdotes, stories, and of course lectures and Swamiji's action in establishing so many centers there in the West Coast. So today he is going to speak. He is the speaker, and I say that he is also the man who instituted this very important memorial lecture. I congratulate him and I welcome him in our midst to speak on the subject. And J.J. Godwin Memorial Lecture, Spread of Vedanta in the West Coast, U.S.A. by Swami Vivekananda. Swami Chandrasekharananda. Thank you.
संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। ॐ जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। ॐ परतत्त्वे सदा लीनो रामकृष्ण समज्ञया यो धर्मस्थापनरतो वीरेशं तं नमाम्यहम्। ॐ नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। Revered Srimad Swami Suparnanand Ji Maharaj, the chair of this meeting, and respected brahmachari and also respected members of this gathering, August gathering. It is indeed my pleasure, my fortune, and also privilege to be here and talk to an enlightened audience like this. Now the cat is out, as Maharaj said. So I remembered one thing in Hindi. They say, जिसकी बिल्ली उसी को म्याऊं. I wanted to avoid this, but he forced me to do this, so my Shashtanga pranams to him. So today's, there is a reason also. As Sri Krishna says, nahi kalyan krit kaschit durgatim tat gacchati. Kalyan krit, whatever is good. If you do something good, good done, my child, is never in vain or ill-gotten. Therefore, whatever good we do through the world, actually we do good to us. It is like this. We see our image in a mirror. Say we are shaving. We shave here, but we see there. Seeing there, we shave here. So whatever good we do, in fact, we do good to us. So therefore, this is my tribute to Swamiji and his ardent servant, J. Goodwin. It's my fortune to be here with you and share some ideas. As you know, today's topic is very nice, spread of Vedanta in the West Coast by Swami Vivekananda. So it has three parts. One is Swami Vivekananda, and the second is spread of Vedanta in the West Coast. In the West Coast and spread of Vedanta. So in order to explore these 3 points, let me take up the first one first. That means the West Coast, because that's easier. Though I don't want to burden yourself with lots of statistics, but some are essential, which is relevant for this talk. Therefore, please excuse me for that. Swami Vivekananda visited U.S.A. extensively in both of his visits to the West, but it was only in his second visit that he went to the West Coast and visited California. West Coast is very big one. where we have Western Washington, then Oregon, and then California. So in fact, Swamiji visited California only. Southern West Coast, we can say. So mainly Los Angeles and San Francisco Bay areas and a few surrounding places. Swamiji in his second visit to the West reached London on 31st of July 1899 and remained there up to 16th of August. He reached American shores on 28th of August and remained in the East Coast up to 29th of November. Then he reached California on 3rd of December 1899 and remained there up to 29th of May 1900. So roughly it is 179 days. So roughly you can say 6 months. And he delivered 79 lectures. And he delivered also many talks. Parlor talks, morning talks, evening fireside talks, like that. As we all know, the subject rotates around India, Indian civilization, its culture, religion, and ultimately it is the unity of all. Swami Vivekananda knew that his life was short, so he wanted to deliver his message as early as possible. The message for the West as Buddha had the message for the East. So that was in his mind. Therefore, he poured out his heart in southern west coast of U.S.A., to be precise, and showed the seed of future Vedanta movement, which is now flowering, fruiting, and spreading. Though sometimes unperceived, as Swami Vivekananda used to say, that morning dew falls on flowers, unperceived, unheard, unseen, but it blooms the beautiful roses. So therefore, sorry. One thing more, when Swamiji returned to India for the first time, he made India as his center. Evar Kendro Bharatvarsho. Similarly, when we see, when he went to U.S.A. first time, he made his center East Coast of U.S.A. On the same vein, we can say the West Coast was the center for his second visit. Therefore, the title of the talk is justified. Swami Vivekananda's universal teachings are working in American society in many ways, though sometimes its source and roots are not perceived and perceptible. Once Swami Satprakashananji was asked, "Will Vedanta take roots in the West?" He said, "Yes, but the source may not be recognized." Swami Vivekananda wanted to be a voice without form. His matchless master, Sri Ramakrishna, discarded fame as dropping of a crow. Thus both never bothered about their names. They loved the whole humanity and discharged and preached whatever was good for the world without bothering about their names and fame. Then should we also not bother to find out its source? I think the effort to find their roots are essential for two reasons. Firstly, to stop the tendency to heap rubbish on India and on its religion by some Western forces. First, digesting, assimilating, and claiming the best part of Sanatana Dharma and Vedantic teachings as if they are their own discoveries. And this is happening. And secondly, to maintain the purity of their teachings for the welfare of the world. I am happy to acknowledge that some groups, both Eastern, Indian especially, and Western are doing the first part to show that these essential teachings are from Sanatana Dharma. Our effort, therefore, should be for the second part. It is to try to keep the purity of the teachings so that they are not distorted due to intermixing with other thoughts and becoming an instrument of misleading the society. These life-giving thoughts are not easy to hold on to because it requires penance, tapasya. Satyena labhya tapasa brahmacharyana nityam. Cultivate these divine qualities are not simple. So therefore, some people should be there to cultivate such qualities and hold fast to the truth, unadulterated, undistorted, in its pure form. And what is happening in Western world? Some institutions are flowering and growing very fast. But in fact, it is a commercial house. We have to shun from that. Therefore, we have a pivotal role to play. But Swami Satprakashananji was right in one sense, that is, the uses of the Vedantic and Indian teachings are so variegated that it is well nigh impossible to trace how many ways they are being used, sometimes intentionally and sometimes unintentionally. When I was researching this, I found even vegetarianism also the fruit of Vedantic teachings in the West, and the simple living and many other things. And a group is there who are trying to inculcate other Indian values. And I know a psychologist who advises his clients using Patanjali Yoga Sutras. But he never tells about it. He never tells the source, lest people will discard that and will not follow. So therefore, sometimes it is intentional, sometimes it is not intentional. And in the West, that's the way they actualize and they don't mention about it. Not all the time, but in some cases. Anyway, before delving on the second part, that is by Swami Vivekananda, I would like to quote a verse from the Vivek Chudamani, the crest jewel of spiritual discrimination. Shanta mahanto nivasanti santah vasantavat lokhitaya charantah tirna swayam bhima bhavarnavam janan ahitunan anyan apitarayantah. There live the saintly people with calm and gently noble minds who live by the highest ideals and like the spring season, moving and doing things for the welfare of the world. Having crossed the dreadful sea of worldly life themselves, they take others also across without any motive. So here case in point is Swami Vivekananda. Such great souls have seen through the rigmarole of this relative world. See, we are in the thick of it, we know how hard it is. But such wise souls, they cross these difficulties. They have crossed this terrible ocean of birth and death. Such great souls have no personal axe to grind. It is for the welfare of the world. They roam about like spring, bestowing life-giving teachings for the good of the society, for the welfare of the people. So it is very difficult. How subtle it is. Say you are listening my words. We call it gross. You can hear that. But you cannot see my thoughts. Because that's subtle. And the third is causal. Behind gross, subtle is the cause. I am choosing some words, I am using them for a particular purpose. That is the cause. I am here today because of a particular cause, which is not seen. So, the great souls, they do something. Sometimes we don't know why. Because it is very subtle. Say this building we can see, but we cannot see those who worked in it, those who planned it and executed it, and thought behind that also, causal. So when such great souls do something for the welfare of the society, how they do, what are the thought behind, it's very, very subtle. So therefore, to understand Swamiji's mental attitude to help the world, one should meditate deeply on his mind. As he was in Thousand Island Park, and he said to the devotees, now let us meditate on the heart of lion. Lion, its strength, its valor. Let us meditate on him. Therefore, we also should meditate on Swamiji. What thought he had, how he struggled to deliver his message to the world. And he did so well. So I would like to request you to feel one with that great teacher, the great orator, the compassionate heart of the spiritual son of Sri Ramakrishna, who spread his message worldwide. Let us feel the vastness greatness and majesty of that regal character, his loftiest thoughts, and his compassionate love for all. We have to meditate. Because with that came that flow of teachings. Buddha also felt that this world is perching. Sri Ramakrishna also felt like that. They not only felt, they did something concrete for the society. To understand their mind, we have to meditate on their mind. So let us see who was Swami Vivekananda. It's not ordinary mortal. A voice without a form as he wanted to be. In his own word, I have touched the feet of God, a realized seer who saw and actualized the truth in its own glory, not covered or adulterated with something else. He got command from God to teach humanity. নরেন শিক্ষে দেবে যখন ঘরে বাইরে হাঁক দেবে. Sri Ramakrishna had to write his own chapras, as he suggested, that a teacher must have a chapras. He was not an ordinary mortal. According to Sri Ramakrishna, a dhyana siddha, nitya siddha, ishwar koti, one of the 7 rishis, as we heard from Sri Ramakrishna, and that also from a non-dual realm. A big fish among fishes, a big container, a 1,000-petaled lotus with 18 extraordinary qualities, even one of them have the power to make a person world famous. Not only that, in Kashipur Garden House, what happened? Sri Ramakrishna poured himself into him. So it was Sri Ramakrishna who preached in the West. It was Sri Ramakrishna who spread Vedanta in the West in the form of Swami Vivekananda. In fact, Vivekananda is an idea personified. A principle took a form. Mother India produced him to disseminate and distribute her spiritual wealth and to contribute to the world for the welfare of it. He said about his gone to the West, he himself told, that I went to America was not my doing or your doing, but the God of India who is guiding her destiny sent me and will send hundreds of such to all nations of the world. No power on earth can resist it. So he was pure vehicle for disseminating Indian culture and religion. What he did, mere lecturing or spread of Vedanta? In his own word, only another Vivekananda could assess what this Vivekananda has done. He shook the foundation of this world, the thought world. Actually, world is thought. Whatever we see, what it is. It is our study, our reading of the outside, and then we project out of it. We see, I am seeing you. By seeing you, I am reading this nature, and then I am projecting. So thought is subtle. Therefore, even in West, Swamiji said, the Western culture, Western civilization advanced itself by cohort of armies. But Eastern is different. It spread out of love. And love is subtle. Physical strength, physical power is limited. And the time will tell which one is stronger. Actually, he said in another place, he said, if survival of the fittest is the rule, then India is the strongest. Because it is surviving the vicissitude of so many calamities, so many difficulties and aggressions. So therefore it must be stronger than any other nation. Even he said, where are Greeks now? Gone from the face of the earth. Where Romans are now? Gone from the face of the earth. But India is shining, getting stronger and stronger even today. It is the victory of mental strength, subtle power. Swami Vivekananda, how he dealt with the various difficulties. What he did is difficult to assess. And he was no different from Sri Ramakrishna, an incarnation. As Gita says, Janma karma chame divyam evam jo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma neiti mameti sorjuna. That I have no work, still I work. I have no birth, still I take birth, as it were. If someone can understand this rightly and correctly, then he will have no rebirth. So therefore it is very, very difficult to understand. Therefore we have to meditate on his life, what he did and how he did. To his critics, his exhortations and his teachings may not look that great, but simplistic. But what a challenge he took to convey the loftiest philosophy in a simple language, that to be understood by common man who has no idea about spirituality, and yet it should be enough for Pandits to write volumes. How difficult it is can be understood by only those who have tried to do so. That too, finding meaning of various kinds of superstitious ideas and practices that sells in the name of spirituality, but has no connection with it, and also to redefine them for the welfare of the world. So he did it. See, in our scriptures, so many various ideas. In our society, so many kinds of rituals. And he found meaning in them. And he presented in such a way that it was attracted to the savants even. As Ravindra said, if you want to know India, study Vivekananda. In Vivekananda, everything is positive and nothing negative. Even the negative ideas he put in such a way that it seems that it is relevant. So therefore, that's his genius. That was his genius. As we know, a real teacher has at least two qualities. And that is one is, he should have mastery over his subject. And second, he should know the difficulties, limitations of students. And also he should know how to overcome that difficulty. So he knew all these things because he went through his own life. He struggled. So he knows our difficulties. And that is why he spoke so lucidly. And a teacher has to come down to the level of a student to teach. And even an ordinary teacher finds these challenges to teach secular subjects to intelligent and non-so-intelligent people, students. Swamiji Brahmagyani himself also knew our difficulties and came down to our level of understanding and used the language and phrases that we are familiar with and are understood by us. The ordinary people, Swamiji excelled an ordinary teacher because of the content of his teachings. Because ordinary teacher teaches secular subjects, but he taught us the Adhyatma Vidya. As in Gita it says, Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam. It is the prime, the most important knowledge and very subtle. So therefore he taught us that. And also it is said, Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. As in Gita, Bhagavan says that I am Adhyatma Vidya in all knowledge, because that is central. It is study of that by which we study. So it must be very, very subtle. But it is his genius that he made it very lucid, understandable, and easily comprehensible. He made logic his tool to convince us, to convey the teachings, but he shunned its worship as Westerners do. Generally, Westerners, they cannot go beyond logic. But here is a person who takes the help of logic, but he is not bound with logic. And another thing, Bhagavad Gita says, Na buddhi bhedam janayet ajnanim karma sanginam. Those who are attached with this world, don't destabilize them and don't make them, their childlike simplicity should go. But Swamiji thought, no, he was against that teaching. He said, we have to uplift those who cannot understand, we have to help them more. So therefore, he came down to our level to teach the loftiest philosophy. Swami Vivekananda's teachings were and are sure and fully effective. It's like Ramban, Amog, and fascinating because he was a seer, truth himself, and conveyed truth and nothing but truth. Because he lived those ideas. It's not that theory. He saw in his master how he practiced and he lived those ideas. Therefore, it was natural that he taught. And what he taught? He taught truth, which is universal. As it has been, truth has its face like sun, which anyone can recognize and be convinced. Unfounded intellectual gymnastics is not truth, however convincing it may look like. That is why when we read Swamiji, it goes to our heart directly. His teachings go to our heart. Because like sun, we don't need anything else to see a sun. Sun is self-effulgent. And it is for our own good. As Swami said, truth does not pay homage to any society, ancient or modern. Society has to pay homage to truth or die. So let us take a help of a metaphor, say like Ganga. As mother also saw, Swami, as she was sitting in the old mutt, the stairs leading to Ganges. And it was a full moon day. All of a sudden, Swamiji came behind her and entered into Ganges. And mother saw, Holy Mother, that Ganga was no other than Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was Ganga. And Swamiji took that water and sprinkled all around. So this is the realization and the darshan of Holy Mother. But before that, one has to strive for it. As we see Ganga, when it is coming from Gomukh, the source, it has tremendous power. Not like Ganga in plain. So Shiva was wanted to contain and also to channelize and harness that power. We see Swami Vivekananda did so. He first is practiced and he strove for realization, and then he sprinkled that Ganga, the spiritual wealth, to the world. Now the third part, though time is very, very short, so I'll just read quickly. Now the third part, the content. So we have covered Swami Vivekananda and West Coast, and the third part is a spread of Vedantic teachings, Vedanta. Swami Vivekananda taught many subjects in the short span of his itinerant presence across California. The subjects varied from spirituality to history, from lofty perennial philosophy to storytelling about Indian people, their customs, practices, and spiritual heritage. The main theme was the sublime teachings of Upanishads and Gita, in short, Vedanta, the divinity of man and unity of the souls, unity in diversity. He taught about mind, its control, its power and possibilities, concentration, meditation, influence of surroundings, applied psychology, etc. He also taught about Raja Yoga, science of yoga, science of religion, and about karma, work and its secret. Finest lectures that he offered there. And also about bhakti, religion of love, worshipped and worshipper, devotion and love. About Vedanta, ideas of universal religion, future religion, claims of Vedanta, reality and shadow. You see, he saw that we have 4 avenues. We have hands to work. We have brain to understand. We have mind to concentrate, focus. And also we have emotion. So universal religion should be such that it should support all our avenues. It should take help from all our avenues for our own emancipation. So he preached Karma Yoga, he preached Raj Yoga, he preached Bhakti Yoga, and also Jnana Yoga. So by all, say Swamiji used to tell, if the whole blood goes to your head or feet, or if it goes to anybody's limbs only, can we call him a healthy person? He said, no. The blood should be equitably distributed to all limbs. Therefore, all four yogas to be practiced, because then only our hands will be strong to work, and the ingenuity, and also will be able to manipulate our will. We can strengthen our feelings, and we can concentrate more on something. So therefore, all four yogas to be practiced may not be fully concentrating in one thing. Whatever is equitable, it's not that the whole blood should go to head. Whatever is required there, because head requires more blood, limbs less. So more blood should go to head. Similarly, if a person is very strong and he can work more, he should concentrate there. So anyway, so he taught all the various kinds of yogas. Then Veda, Ramayana, Mahabharata, stories of Jadabharata, Prahlad, reincarnation, laws of life and death, comparisons of Vedanta and Christianity, Christ's message, way to salvation, etc. History of Aryan race. The abstract ideas of Shruti are difficult to comprehend. Therefore, they were simplified, expanded and illustrated in Smritis and Puranas. Swamiji made it simpler even in modern language and made it practical for an ordinary man. That was done in the light of realization of him and also his guru. And it was natural, as Sri Ramakrishna said, এখানে বসানো শিব নয়, এখানে পাতাল ফোড়া শিব. It's not temporary or established by some person. It is eternal spring. It's coming from within. And Sri Ramakrishna also tried to open this. He said, once I took a razor and cut open quite a bit, but again it was covered. He wanted to reveal the spiritual truth, but all the time it is trying to cover itself. And by this, many savants recognized the value of Swamiji's teachings and were influenced by him, as we know, who in return tried to popularize Vedanta in the West. Among them, some Americans were Christopher Isherwood, Aldous Huxley, Frederick Manchester, Gerald Hurd, Franz Dispickrit, John Van Druten, Dr. Joseph Kaplan, Houston Smith, who is still there, J.D. Salinger, Henry Miller, to name a few. These intellectuals disseminated these ideas in their literature, lectures, stories, movies, etc. Even that Star Wars, it has many Vedantic teachings. And Yoda is one character, he speaks that. So this is some ways to disseminate the same teachings. Miss Lisa Miller wrote an article and named it, "We Are Hindus Now." She wrote in her article in 2009, that there are about 76% people are Christians in the U.S.A. But 65% believes that many religions can lead to eternal truth. This idea is not central in Christianity. They think that Jesus is the way and the goal. About 30% call themselves spiritual and not religious. More than 1/3 do not believe in sacredness of body. Their idea is that it should be there, and on doomsday they will be resurrected and body and soul will be together again. But now many people are preferring cremation. That means they don't want this body to be continued. Rather, they believe in reincarnation of soul. She further wrote, "We are slowly becoming more like Hindus and less like traditional Christians in the ways we think about God, ourselves, each other, and eternity. The idea is not whether one is becoming like Hindus or Christians. The idea is that truth is prevailing and enriching the understanding of people and making them liberal and free from mental slavery and prejudices." What should be the future of Vedanta? And then I'll conclude. Let us take the imagery of Ganga again. When Ganga descends on the plain, it is calm and quiet, but it requires channelizing its resources so that it does not harm people by flooding. Rather, it should be beneficial to all. In spiritual dissemination also, this calmer later phase is very significant. In this phase, the teachings should deliver the public good. By now, the Vedanta movement has crossed the level of mock disapproval and opposition, and it is popular now. If not taken care of it in time, it may be dangerous. Due to its popularity, it will proliferate with various distortions, interpretations, and also may be divided in various factions in course of time. And also, it should be useful for society. The social fabric of America, and for that matter, Western societies, are in a challenging situation now. The strong individualism and consumerism has broken the majority of families. Most of the families, they take divorce, and children have no place. That means they go to their own way. Sometimes they cannot support themselves. The society is nationalized, and their kitchens are privatized by multinational companies. Hardly they cook. Sometimes they go and buy something and eat it. People are in the grip of insurance companies and banks, for whom they mainly earn and are always afraid of them. And they are also afraid of various rules. In this context, Vedanta is playing a pivotal role, but it has to play more persuasively with various other programs. So therefore, Vedanta has got a very big part to play. But Swamiji indicated that also. Though he explained the truth that is in our Vedas, but he also explained how to practicalize this. If in a family, if husband thinks wife is divine, if wife thinks husband is divine, if children think their parents are divine, then only a healthy society can come up. So therefore, this is very important, how Vedanta can be practiced in our day-to-day life. If a mother is cooking she should think that I am cooking for my God. If a person is working in an office, he should think I am working for my God. All the clients are my gods. My audience are my God. So this way it can be practiced. So therefore, Swamiji has given such teachings. We can pray to him so that his teachings become our life source and our mainstream of the society. I pray to him, and I pray to Maharaj also, I pray to you all that let us concentrate and meditate on Swamiji, on his teachings, and let us emulate in our lives. Thank you very much.